Hey Steelers fans, I'm Thomas Mott. Welcome to our Pittsburgh Steelers news and rumor video. As the signings keep coming, the changes keep happening, and a lot of things are happening, of course, here on our Pittsburgh Steelers news and rumor video today, starting with the first big cut. Well, I guess not the first big cut, but a big cut for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and a cut that has freed up cap space in order for them to go ahead and re-sign one of their own in Ahkello Witherspoon. First, on the Schobert cutting. So the Steelers have officially terminated, aka cut, the contract of Joe Schobert, and the move is going to create over $10 million in cap space. They were going to pay Schobert a lot of money. Obviously, bringing him over from Jacksonville didn't really work out, and you can see why they went ahead and did this, because they signed Myles Jack yesterday, which we did a video on here on our channel. You should definitely go ahead and check that out. So this is a big move, and it's going to allow the Steelers to make even more moves, one of which they literally just did 5 minutes ago before I went ahead and jumped on and filmed this video. So first, let's go ahead and jump into the behind the steel curtain write-up on the Schobert contract being terminated. Gives a really good look and an inside scoop onto what the Steelers are trying to do. Quote, freeing up nearly $12 million in salary cap space should equate to the Steelers remaining active in free agency. Positions of need include wide receiver, cornerback, strong safety. The Steelers have yet to have one of their own free agents sign elsewhere, so the return of players like Ahkello Witherspoon, we'll talk about him in a second, Joe Hayden, Juju Smith-Schuster, and Terrell Edmonds remain viable options, end quote. So, of course, they went ahead and addressed the main reason why they cut Schobert yesterday, and that was the signing of Myles Jack. We talked about that in a video 2 days ago, saying it's a possibility, and then yesterday, whenever it happened, and now the reaction, of course, is it's a fantastic signing. Even though Myles Jack has declined in terms of overall production on the football field, he has been a very, very good player. I think most Steelers fans are super pumped about this, and if Jack can get back to what he did in Jacksonville, you're looking at one of the best young linebackers in the National Football League. The speed that Myles Jack has, and yet the ability to tackle players in the open field is absolutely incredible, and so a fantastic signing there by the Steelers. Colin Cowherd tweeted earlier today, the Steelers are having the best free agency, and honestly, it's hard to argue with him on that one. Pittsburgh is doing a very, very good job. Now, the Behind the Steel Curtain article came out before we just got the official news via Twitter that Ahkello Witherspoon, the cornerback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, has re-signed. It is a 2-year deal. We do not know money yet as of filming this, but he comes back to potentially be the other starting cornerback, as Pittsburgh already brought in somebody else. Obviously talked about him earlier this week, and so the Steelers are starting to kind of fill in these holes, right? They still need to figure out wide receiver. That remains a hole, but cornerback and at least the defensive back position is looking a lot better. Now, what do you do at strong safety? Do you do that in the draft? Do you go sign somebody? Maybe Tyrann Mathieu coming on down later on today or later on this week. Either way, though, the Steelers are really addressing a lot of needs that they have had. And this is kind of the beauty of what Pittsburgh really had going into free agency, and that is money. When you have money, you can bring in guys, you can, free up more cap space, even more money, and then re-sign your own. And I like the re-signing of Ahkello Witherspoon. I think he's still one of those up-and-coming young cornerbacks, and seeing a 2-year deal says that Pittsburgh likes what he has and likes the ability to keep him for one final year and then re-sign him again if he has a very, very good next couple of seasons. So, all that just happened. Again, ad break, pin comment down below. Grade the Steelers free agent signings so far. Scale 1 to 10. How do you feel? I'm at an 8 or a 9. I think they've done a very, very good job. We'll see what they're going to do going forward. And of course, if Trubisky's any good, we'll talk about him in a second. But give me your grade on the Steelers free agency moves so far right now. Speaking of Mitch Trubisky, the big signing of the Steelers this offseason, he, of course, comes in as potentially the starting quarterback. Now, of course, the re-signing of Dwayne Haskins, some are saying he'll be an open competition. I'm sure they're going to put this as an open competition at the Steelers quarterback position, but we all know Mitch Trubisky is going to be the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And his former teammate, Josh Allen, the guy he backed up in Buffalo when he officially saw that Trubisky was signed, he had some really, really good comments on Mitchell that I want to throw up on your screen right now, get you excited for your new starting quarterback in the black and gold. Quote, this dude is an athlete. I don't think people really understand that. You give him leeway in an offense to have the mindset of see it, do it, we trust you. He's going to kill it. End quote. We forget that he really was much of a lot more of the athlete than people assume coming out of UNC, and one of the reasons why the Bears traded up to the number 2 overall draft pick to take him a couple of years ago. I think the big thing for Mitchell Trubisky is being under Brian Daboll. Like, I'm loving Trubisky more and more because you look at what he's done, right? He's one of the few quarterbacks who failed at his first position and then really got to work in his second place and accepted being a backup. A lot of quarterbacks who fail, as a top 5 pick, they then want to immediately try to be a starter somewhere else. And it's like, man, you just got to learn something right now. And very obvious Trubisky was a little too raw, even though he did take the Bears to the postseason. He goes to Brian Daboll, one of the best offensive minds in the National Football League, behind Josh Allen, one of the best young quarterbacks in the National Football League, and just soaked it all in, learned it all. We'll see if he can put it together in the football field. We only saw him in limited play in blowouts in preseason this past year, but I think really we're looking at a good quarterback for the Steelers, at least in the interim, hopefully long term, but that remains to be seen. Grade Trubisky as a starting quarterback. Like what's your overall grade on Trubisky as a starting quarterback? I know we haven't seen a lot of him. Obviously, he didn't play last year. Really, an entire year as a starting quarterback. But what's your grade right now? How do you feel? I think most Steelers fans are feeling good, right? A, B, C, D, F. Give me your comments down below in the comments section right now. Okay, before we go ahead and move on, as of filming this, I mean, literally, I got March Madness on in the other room. Like, it's happening right now. And even though you didn't bet on the round of 64, you can still bet on any game that is happening right now with our friends at BetUS. Any single game. Going forward throughout the entire tournament, you can bet on all of it with our friends at BetUS. Chatsports.com/bet is the link that you need. That promo code is Steelers125. Get you a 125% deposit bonus whenever you first sign up. 125%. So you put your $100 down, use the promo code Steelers125 at checkout, and then it turns into $225 for you to bet on March Madness. So whether you want to bet on the Steelers, you want to bet on the Bigger Bears, my alma mater, which I suggest that you do at least for today, or somebody else, maybe you're a Duke guy or UNC guy or somebody else. Either way, get to betting on March Madness. Do with our friends at BetUS. Jump in on the promo right now. Okay, final quick story here, and this is going to change probably by the time you watch this video because we're assuming Deshaun Watson picks a team soon, but as of right now, the Browns have backed themselves in a very weird corner, and we talked about this a couple of days ago. Let's update you. So, Baker Mayfield, of course, the Browns came out and said, well, they're going to pursue Deshaun Watson, or the reports were saying they were going to pursue Deshaun Watson. But we found out earlier today the Browns are out on Deshaun Watson. It's coming down to the Saints and the Falcons. And again, by the time you watch this, he's probably picked one of his two teams. But Baker Mayfield now apparently is still in the Browns' plans. Like the Browns have kind of hinted that, oh, we want Baker Mayfield. They're creating a mess right now in Cleveland. It's fun to watch because as Steeler fans out there, you guys know that this is really what you want because the Browns have good players and a good roster and a good head coach. And the fact that they might have to still trade Baker Mayfield and start from scratch with Garoppolo or somebody else is very, very funny. Like, they wanted Deshaun Watson. It's very clear. They went all in Deshaun Watson, and the Amari Cooper trade was very much a, hey, Deshaun, look, we got Amari Cooper for you. And the fact that Deshaun went, no thanks, like, I'm going to go to the Saints or the Falcons, again, depending on when you watch this, is very funny to me overall. Like, the Browns really screwed this one up, because now you do have to get rid of Baker Mayfield. And if you keep Baker Mayfield, then there's going to be even more drama. It's like breaking up with your girlfriend and then being like, just kidding, come on back. There's still that awkwardness. Very rarely does it actually work out. So this is an interesting story to keep an eye on here. If they do have to trade Baker Mayfield, what are they going to do? You going to draft somebody? Are you going to, I guess Garoppolo is your only other option, unless you want to get Marcus Mariota? Is that an upgrade over Baker Mayfield? Cleveland is in for it right now. That was a mistake going all in for Deshaun, or at least saying they were going all in for Deshaun. Baker's not happy, and we're going to see what happens with our AFC North rival coming up next couple of days. And on this, who's the worst team in the AFC North right now? Who's the worst team in the AFC North? That's tough. That's very tough because they're all good. Do you put the Browns down there? I think you might have to, even though they have a really good running game and the defensive line is good, but the drama up front and at the quarterback spot is very much happening right now, and so we'll keep an eye on that here, covering, of course, the Steelers and I guess the rest of the AFC North as well. All right, follow me on Twitter. I had like 14 new Steeler followers on my Twitter account. I tweet a bunch of stuff around the National Football League, including stuff about your Steelers. If you want to be updated and notified when things happen, do it with me, at Real Thomas Mont. Give me a follow. And of course, we do a mailbag video tomorrow, so get your questions in down below. Must be a subscriber. Hashtag Steelers. Ask any sort of Steeler League question that you want, and if it's good, we'll pull it and answer it in tomorrow's video. All right, ultimate for today on our Pittsburgh Steelers news and rumor video. I'm Thomas Mott, signing off for the rest of your day.